I'm not sure whether this is great, but well, but okay. Let me start. Gerard and Gerard can sort of come in at any time. He should actually and interrupt. I think it's a very informal session. So at any time, if you want to sort of like interrupt and stop and say no, you don't understand, then we'll basically agree. And we also don't understand a lot of times, but we're going forward. Okay, so let me start, and I'll share my screen now, and then Gerard can do a bit later. I don't know how much the rest of the people here have played around with AI sort of web developers. Okay, you call it something else, but well, we just call it for now Loveable because we use loveable.dev. I'll share a link now, or just go loveable.dev. It's one of several AI web developers, but Gerard first started using it, and it's quite interesting. It combines HTML building with databases and back-end functioning. So it sort of groups it all together, which makes it possible for like ordinary publishers to publish websites. Now, I want to start like on completely, I'm just going to fall into something, and I want to show how it is being done. So let me go to, I'm just going to open up here, and then I'm going to share, and hopefully it works. Let's go see Windows, and there. Okay, if I'm correct, you should be able to see my screen, which says Soutpansberger, and then Makati Municipality under fire, and things like that. Right. Yes. So this is now in the Loveable interface. The one, and again, we started with the Soutpansberger because that is a smaller paper, and for us it's an ideal sort of testing ground to see what can be done, what can we, what are the problems. I'll go a bit into that, but I first want to explain how it works, because I think that to a lot of people will be quite interesting. And I think, okay, well, so in Loveable, you've got a little thing where you can put prompts. Now, I've made up a little prompt already, so I'm just going to copy it in now, which is a little fun game, which I know. So I'm going to ask, and I'm going to chat to her. My Loveable is a she, Gerard has got a he. So I'm telling her, please build me a match the game page. And I give it a sort of like, okay, at that sort of something. And I say, what I want to do is, I've downloaded 12 pictures from the AIP board members and everyone involved. And I've already sort of just loaded it into a folder there, which, I mean, this is in the back end. Okay, I'm simplifying it, but this is so, and this is now real time. If it doesn't work, I'm going to be like slightly annoyed, but it should work. And I want to tell her, display the photos on the left side of the page in a grid and show all the names extracted from the photo file names. And I want them to shuffle it randomly. And then the user must drag names from the right and drop them into the matching. So basically, I'm saying I've got all the photos of Kate and all the others on the board, and I'm going to like put that on one side, and I'm going to put the names on the other. And I want to make a little game of that. So there we go. And I'm going to tell her, this is what I want you to do. And this is really it. You basically tell Loveable that I like the BBC website. I think it's stunning, or I like the Washington Post website, and build me something similar. And then the whole thing starts. So now what she's done is, again, my Loveable's a she. She came up with like the whole, okay, this is what she thinks I want to do. I mean, like she's like even draws me a little layout structure. And so again, I've tried it yesterday. So she's like, she remembered I tried the exercise yesterday, but she was supposed to ignore that. Anyway, so she tells me all the features that she's going to build, name extraction, and then I'd say, okay, I think that's wonderful. So let's implement the plan. So hopefully this all works in a couple of, like in a minute or so, she's going to build that specific page, and we're going to test it, and each one of us can test it and see what she's built. But while she's doing that, I think the exercise which we put out, it is never about building websites. You know, you can use WordPress templates, you can do so many. The whole exercise is about having ideas, saying yes. Like, for instance, if you go down here, there's a little puzzle, and to say, okay, you know, I want to build a puzzle so that people can do that. You know, it keeps them busy. Alternatively, you know, we've got a subscriber section, so we've got a token system. We've got a photo archive system. All these things. Okay, well, still while she's busy with that, we just want to get. I'm going to drop a token system into just. I think there's a comment. Sorry, let me just click that. If you have registered, you can use this URL, and it will give you a token. You can just, and it will give you full access to like the complete one. Okay, so let's get back to the page. I hope you can still see the page. So she's created it. So let's just go and quickly test it. I'm going to go to that fun test and see what it's actually made up. Now, hopefully it works. Because if it works, we can all test it. Oh, and there we go. There we've got like, this one looks, sorry, got the wrong. This is one she's done yesterday, and this is not the correct one. Do that. Okay, so, well, yes, here we are. Okay, so now I can see, okay, so I can drag that there. Oh, no, wait, sorry, I first need to start the game. If I start the game, it should allow me now to sort of drag and drop, and there we go. Okay, what I'm going to do now, obviously I want you all to test it, so I'm going to, I'm happy with this page, it looks wonderful, so I'm going to publish it. Okay, and I'm going to update it, and this basically is, that's it, and I've created a page in like a few minutes. I'm just going to copy this URL and put that in the chat as well. And there you go. Okay, so basically all of you can like play around, and in a few minutes we've created a little fun and enjoy. Well, if you know the people, it's fun. Okay, I'm gonna quickly go. I'm not too sure if you see the dashboard or what you actually see now.
Yeah, we see the dashboard.
Okay, I'm just gonna quickly run through our website, and then Gerard can do the same. And what I'm going to do now is to basically tell what we've built in a month and a half. And this is, again, I need to stress, this is not by any other tech team. Adam is here on the call as well, Adam Oxford. And I mean, it would be good to have his input later on. But this is not developed by some techie experts. It's two publishers just going on their own. I mean, obviously, the first thing is you can just read the news. Like most other websites, nothing spectacular. This one is behind a semi-paywall, so you have to sign in and you have to have tokens, but you can also have the option to make it freely available. Different categories. We've got flipbooks as well. The flipbooks you can it's like a flipbook. You can go through the latest editions. We've got a wonderful photo archive, which we started in looking at all the old photos dating back to, well, we only started now with 3 years. It's the historic photos that were in our sort of like sitting in files for years. You know, you can now quickly, and this is stunning for people living in this area, that they can like go back so many years, and whether it's sport photos or whether it's, you know, it's available there. Previously, we couldn't make it available. And then an extensive archive. Around about 17,000 articles pulled in here. Okay, so then the marketplace is in development, which we hope to also create as a place where local vendors can make these products available. And in short, that's about it. I can sort of go into the back end as well, where it allows us to handle whether it's the content. All of this was built by myself using the same prompts that I showed you before. So yes, I think from my side, quickly, that's it. I hope you all sort of finished the puzzle by now. You probably know the people better. And you can always fire away with questions. Otherwise, I'm going to go over and like Gerard say, Gerard's got some really interesting projects, but he's got much more of a creative mind than I have. But also, I need to stress that we're playing around with ideas. We're saying, okay, I think this can work in our market. For instance, we can say, I think there's a need for history. We've got wonderful history articles there, with some of them with videos as well. But you don't have to wait for a technical team to build it for you. You can do that yourself. Later on, we can cover subjects such as the cost of this all. It's not really expensive, but it can become expensive if you want to expand the whole time, but nowhere close to what any of the others would be. And then the durability, or the like, can it break? Well, yes, it can, but it's actually a lot better than I initially thought. Gerard, yeah, it's all over to you.
But I just wanted to say, are there any particular questions now for Anton before we move to Gerard? But if there aren't, then we'll go straight to Gerard. And then, yeah, Juan, I see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Morning. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
For this wonderful presentation. Sir Anton, what about space? I see a lot of articles and a lot of archive with pictures and whatnot. What about space? Because as a WordPress person, I'm always suffering with space and disk space. I have to increase, call AfriHost and all that.
Well, I think it's quite an important question, which I don't have the exact sort of answers. The way it works, the site sits on Loveable server, okay, but it's not that it's completely exclusive. It also it sits on GitHub, so it duplicates your code on GitHub. So if you want to move it somewhere else, you can just move it. It stays your own property. It's your intellectual property, and it does not belong to Loveable. It runs from their server, and I think they still battling to work out a decent sort of hosting sort of model. Currently, you can do, there's a free hosting option, and then you can do like a $25 or a $50 option, but they don't really give you more space. They actually work on how much you query the database, how much work is involved in that. Now, let me go to, I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to go to another, because I mean, this whole exercise one is also, Gerard and I, with the help of Adam and the team, are trying to make this a very open experiment. So we try to probe everything, but we also document everything, and we want to make it available specifically for other publishers. So let me just go back, and I want to show you. We go share the screen again. Okay, so back to here. If I'm going to go into my own profile, all right, I'm going to go to settings there, and I'm looking at the cloud balance. Now you can see this is for the past month. I've used $25, and I've topped up with $16.96, and I've got 3. So let's say that would the first 25 is free. So on the specific plan that you get, like whether it's a 25 or a $50 plan, you can you've got that free, and $1 AI usage. But the AI usage is fairly sort of small. Okay, so I've added $20, and I'm almost out, but it actually stays there. So the usage cost in terms of the hosting, for me, this month would have probably been in the region of $20. But I'm suspecting when we do the mirror as well, which has got a much higher volumes of traffic, it'll go up to the $65, maybe to $100 option. But then you need to look at, in terms of you to build these things, cost money. Okay, so now, unfortunately, I need to let's see if no, the plans are not sort of out here. The more you query, the more you ask Loveable to build stuff, the more the AI needs to think, the more money it costs you. It works on credit system. Now, Gerard would be able to, because he's been busy with it a lot longer, he would be able to tell you more in terms of his cost, let's say the past 6 months. We've only been busy with it the past 2 months, but the average cost to build and maintain, I don't think will be more than $100, if that much. It can be less, it can be more, but it's trial and error. So I don't know if that answers part of your questions, Juan.
Thank you so much, Anton. Thanks. Nice.
Yeah, can I just come in there? Yes, I agree with Anton. I would say, I'd say to sort of maintain it once you've got it, I'd say maybe $50 would probably do it. And then in terms of what you worried about, Kwan, there's an option where you can use the Loveable cloud. I started on Superbase, but you can use the Loveable cloud, and it's infinitely scalable. I mean, their backend lies on Amazon, so they'll charge you for it. But I mean, there's absolutely, you can just scale and scale and scale and scale. So if that helps.
Eugene wanted the question, and Rashad.
Yes, Rashad and Eugene. Rashad, please go ahead, and then Eugene. Rashad?
I think Rashad's on mute.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me clearly? I'm actually sitting in my car.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so I'm a developer for Muslim Views. I've been doing a website for the past 30 years and using WordPress for the past 20 years. I've also gotten into coding and vibe coding in this year and managed to create 4 mobile apps that are actually currently on the Apple App Store. So coming from a no coding background to vibe coding 4 apps in a couple of months and getting them approved is quite an achievement with using AI. However, the AI module that I only use is ChatGPT and Grok. I'm sure you're familiar with Grok.
Yes.
I'm now being a developer for so many years, a web developer, and I do have a question when it comes to building websites with AI. Now, there's a lot of things that one needs to dive deep into. For example, SEO. How is it handling, or how are you handling SEO? How is it creating the code? Because Google will not, or search engines will not look at your websites if the code is not done properly, like your H1s, your H2s, your headers, your content, the tags, meta tags, all of these things. And also if certain things are put in an unstructured DOM, do you have access to the back-end code that you can actually fix? Because AI, in my experience, does throw a lot of unnecessary code if you're not a developer that you can pick up this code, and it does impact on the what can I say, the SEO of your website. Now my question is, have you done a comparison between the costing in terms of hosting? I mean, I do hosting as well, so I know the costing of hosting. So have you done a comparison between hosting the cost of using your AI long term. I know in a few seconds you can put out a website, but when it comes back to maintaining it and scaling up your website, how well is the AI to remember what you've done? And if you want to change colors and stuff, does it work really well? So basically, your costing compared to a WordPress website.
Yes,
Okay.
please go ahead.
Sean, if I can, we should actually, but okay, we'll be jumping around a bit. But I think there are many sort of things that we do not know exactly. In terms of SEO, it's actually really good. I mean, it's much better than our previous website. But then also, you must remember, SEO has been a buzzword 6 months ago and so, and then started Google with a lot of changes, sort of pulled it out from underneath a lot of people now. And still, SEO is if you're aiming at, like, for instance, volumes, you have got an advertising model and things like that. So I'm not knocking and say don't go for SEO, but should SEO be the single most important thing that we look at? But to get back to two of the things that you raised, yes, it seems to be extremely good at SEO. It has its own sort of built-in. We can go into that detail as well, but I think it's might bore some of. It's got its own sort of analytics on that as well, and sort of, and you can basically ask the AI to change it and sort of make sure. I mean, we've got 100% SEO score on this like one, but whether that's useful, I don't know. In terms of the code, whether you can change it, yes. It puts it on GitHub, and if you want to change it, then you can change it. It even allows you to edit the code if you want to. But again, the exercise is not about building wonderful websites. The exercise is about sustainability, innovation, and to say, okay, my market is completely different from Kwan's market. It's completely different from Gerard's market. In fact, we've got two products which are so distinctly different, which means that we have to develop in a direction there. And the long and the short is that I cannot afford a developer. There's just no way. And I think like 80 to 90% of AIP publishers cannot afford a developer. So what do we do with our ideas? And I'm a good example. For years, we've been waiting and waiting for developers to come to the fore and help us develop a marketplace, develop a token system, develop a subsidy system. It's not happening because you're simply too small. So the Loveable one is about that. It allows people like Gerard and myself to say, I think this can work in our market. Let's build it. And if it doesn't work, you know what? We try something else. So it's not about having the best code. In fact, you're quite right. It develops like terrible code. I mean, it's like stacks and stacks of code. I mean, it's just so sloppy. But you know what? To me, it looks like gibberish. I can understand some of it, but mostly it's just gibberish. So whether it's sloppy or not, it's, you know, as long as the site works and as long as the people like visit it and they enjoy it. And if it's too slow, I need to make a plan. But yeah, you raise a lot of legitimate sort of concerns, and which is things that we've looked at. And I think maybe later on, I think we need to finish with Gerard's sort of presentation first. Yeah. Then I think Adam can also be like answer you in a much more sort of technical way. Maybe we should just hear from Eugene before we go to Gerard.
Perfect. Let's do that. Eugene.
Hi. Just for Kwan, I've moved I'm also WordPress based. So there's 3 of us here. And well, that we know of. Kwan, I've moved my hosting to Hostinger. I've been involved with WordPress since 2010, and it is phenomenal. And lots of space, and lots of support, AI-based, etc. And it's fantastic. Just in terms of this platform, I would like to know, when does AI start and when does it end? Does it end when you stop asking AI? Once you host the site, is AI still involved? My concern is that AI security is not at a point yet where I trust AI to be involved at any level on my site while it is live, because AI is designed to please with no boundaries. and it doesn't know whether I've told it to exploit a file or not. So my question is, if I publish this, is AI still involved if something gets in? If there's a dodgy file or whatever and gives AI an instruction, will it follow that instruction, or is AI not involved? Or will I need to move it off this hosting into a separate hosting that so that AI is no longer involved in my site? So my concern is security once it's published.
Okay, Gene, just a quick answer. I think there are two levels of AI. Firstly, the AI in developing the pages. To me, it's purely like, the way I see it, very sort of amateurish way, is that AI, I tell it now I want a little puzzle or what I previously sort of showed, I built sort of, and it'll go search and it'll see if it can find something similar to that, and it'll copy, effectively steal it and implement it here. The code is built, that's it, AI is on its job. So it's like hard code and it sits there on your server. So AI is no longer involved once it's sort of produced pages. But you can also implement AI in other instances. For instance, what I didn't show was in the CMS, in articles. So when we post articles, we use AI there. You post the body of the article, and then you use AI to generate summaries, keywords. You can also, since last week, you can use it to generate images for you. So that's very helpful, but you use AI similar to what you would use ChatGPT or Claude or even Notebook LM to enhance your content. But we don't envisage making it available further than that to the users. We basically just use it firstly to build the site to sort of generate the code, and then to assist with content, adding content. I don't know, Gerard, maybe you can add and you use it more extensively, and maybe also show the people what you've done.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I started using it for the same reason that Anton said, the speed of development. I can't wait. I've got a guy in Cape Town that does my stuff, and then I have to call him, and he does it in the evenings and whatever. I got so tired of it. But anyway, so that's why I did it. But the security concerns, frankly, I don't have the answers. I've been running my site live for about 3 months now. I've not had a single problem. I've not had a single breach. In fact, I have a lot less queries about the website now that I'm running it this way. So that's basically that. That's all I can say at this stage. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, great. Yeah, I wanted to say fantastic. So maybe go ahead, Gerard, and do your presentation so that we can take it from there. Yeah. Thanks, Gerard.
Okay, I'm going to be quick, and I'm just going to talk you through a few things. Okay, Anton is the calm, measured, rational person in this work group, and I'm unpredictable. I push the boundaries. I do new things, and I don't care. I like innovation, and I do things. There's a lot of things on our site. About 6 months ago, I was wondering about AI. Well, if you asked me 6 months ago, I would have said I wouldn't touch AI. I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. It's gonna probably lead to the end of humanity. I want nothing to do with it. And then one Sunday I sat down and I started figuring it out, and I love figuring stuff out, and I started using it, and I've just not looked back. I'm afraid I'm convinced of its use now. I think it's a wonderful tool. There's a lot of problems and questions and things, but it is a fantastic tool. Please try it. Do yourself a favor, and just, if you haven't tried it at all, go on Loveable and just give it a couple of prompts and start using it. It is really a great tool. I'm not saying it's the answer for everybody. I'm just saying try it. Please try it. Okay. What else do I? Yeah, our site. I'm not actually going to take you to our site. I want you to go and look at it because I've got something else that I want to tell you about today. I'm hijacking this meeting. But anyway, we did some interesting things on Overstrand Herald. We started with the currency thing. We've got something called whalers, and we developed a whole system where you can actually, a whole payment system, where you can actually, you can take over the role of banks, basically, if you wanted to. And through QR codes, have merchants and sell stuff and get commission and whatever. Whether it's legal is another matter. At the moment, it's a bit of a gray area. And there's some changes coming soon, legislative changes, which will spell it out clearly. But that's one of the things we've done. We've done things like ticketing. There's no reason why local newspapers can't do small events. They make it sound like a terrible, complicated thing. Ticketing is nothing. It's like the guy pays and you send him a ticket with a QR code. And the guy at the event organizer has got a QR code, and the app on his phone, and he just scans the code and you go in. And there's a couple of small little things, but it's not rocket science. We can do ticketing, and we're starting to do it. Things like something I did, and I know everybody shouts about it, and it's security and whatever, but I have about 15% of my population is elderly people. And I had like 4 or 5 people coming in every week. I've lost my password. Please, can you link me up again? Terrible. 7 o'clock on the Sunday morning. So I changed it. And what now happens, if you just put in a subscriber just puts in their email and they go in and the system checks them. It's a false and a true and whatever. I don't care. It works. And I have had no abuse that I know of. I don't see any abnormal things happening on my site. And the elderly people just love it. It works for them. They remember their email. They never forget that. And now they just get automatic access. There's all kinds of other security things built in there, and a payment wall. And we do things like interesting things. Go and have a look. Our news behind the paywall, we blur the pictures because we've seen over 5 years that people come and they watch the pictures and they read the excerpts and they read the heading and then they say, yeah, that's fine for me. I've read the paper, and they go. So we're trying something there and we're measuring it with Adam and we're seeing where that goes, if it's something or it's nothing. At the moment, it's just a gut feel. Other things like we've got a local thing where you share experiences. It's a wonderful tool. And as soon as I get somebody to actually spend their time on that, it's going to be an incredibly popular thing. We've got a social feed where we sort of do social media like it should be done. We just share stuff from other pages in our little towns to a page that we own, and then we just feed it to our site. And it brought about 1,000 or so people a week that's actually looking around there. So that's just some of the things. Please go and check and ask questions. Okay. But okay, what I want to talk also, and I see this as an extension of this project, this Loveable project. We were told, or we were asked by Kate, that please develop possible income streams. Go and look at ways where publishers can actually earn income. So ticketing and all those things are part of it. There's other things we look at. I'm looking at like sort of content, that you create content for businesses and all kinds of other things, which I'll work in the new year on. But on Sunday I sat contemplating the situation, and just the week before, somebody told me that they were closing their newspaper, and some other guys were really saying we're in dire straits. We need to do something. And then I just sort of contemplated, what can one actually do? And then an old idea came up with me again. I first heard it in the 2015 conference, AIP conference, when there was a very clever young guy standing there, and he was saying he's going to create a mobile sort of app where we're going to share our news and whatever. It never got off the ground. And since then, there's been several sort of attempts or people talking about that. But the time wasn't right. It was too early. But I actually think the time is right now. I think it's time to look at something like that again. So what I've done is I've just and this it's totally my idea. It's unsolicited. Nobody asked me for this. Nobody is behind me or pulling strings or anything. It's just my idea. So please see it as that. If you want to fight about it, fight with me. Okay. It's not pretty, and it's not the way it's going to look in the end. Obviously not. I just picked the name. I just sort of made the front page just to give you an idea. I'm going to try and share it now with you. Don't look at the clothes. Look for the person behind it. Okay, let's see if we can share this in. No, it's not going to work. I'm sorry. I thought this was going to be easier. Can you see anything?
Yes, we can see Molo. Discover authentic stories from 120 plus community news outlets. Looks good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So obviously, if this was a working news page, this would look totally different. This would have a podcaster on the one side, a montage, and a podcaster saying, "Hey, Rose, we talking Matlanga Commission today, and my man cat is going down, and on the side there's a video playing of a car burning, and there's a whatever." It'll be different, but just to give an idea, I just want to give you an idea. Okay, so you have independent voices. You have something for independent voices. Okay, let's for a moment just carry on. Okay, then you have your different publications. It can be podcasters. Just think about it. Think about the possibilities. There's hundreds of them out there. There's small guys that want to sort of formalize their thing, and they can't. And we can give them their platform. I'll show you what I'm thinking a bit later. Okay, then you just have a sponsorship ad. You have somebody that actually says, okay, I'm going to support this. It's ShopRite or it's whoever is supporting this, just a big ad. And then we just have simple things like our top 10 reads or something like that. And you have featured stories from our publishers. Okay, and there they are. This is just over Strand Herald. I just loaded stories. I employed a couple of people like Anton. Sorry, I just experimented. And Fanelu, I've got in here somewhere, and Shirley. I particularly loved employing Shirley because I love the idea of being Shirley's boss. It's like being the boss of bosses. Anyway, it's supposed to be funny. Okay, so here you have like the stories.
It's funny.
What you'll see here now is like the logo. If a publisher posts a story, your logo will be here, and it'll take you to a publisher page. So here you have, basically, you have a page. Okay, obviously the sign up and that stuff, it's all the same, the usual stuff, verification, mails, cha. Each person, each reader has a little dashboard. And each publisher has a dashboard. And there's an overall dashboard, an admin dashboard. And that admin dashboard can regulate basically anything on the site, from blocking a user to changing a story to inserting an ad. But the publishers have a lot of independence here. They can do a lot of things. I'll show you now. Okay, there's a publisher area. I'm just going to log out here quickly. You sign in, obviously. There's a publisher area where you have to register first before you can become a publisher on the platform, obviously. And then you have a syndication option where people can actually apply to syndicate the content. There's a process behind that, which I'm not going to go into now, but you can do it in different ways. You can say you can use 10 stories for 2,000 Rand, or you can use all of the content for 20,000 Rand, or whatever you can do. You can play around. Okay. Then you have the important part is, and I've just loaded a few, and it's a bit scrappy, but just to give you an idea. Okay, so all the publications of all the publishers is basically going to lie around here, different provinces. And then when you go, so let's go to the Overstrand Herald, you'll see something like this. This heading, for instance, will be totally, you can change it and you can do it. What I just threw in a little video at the back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Anyway, you can subscribe to individual publications or podcasts or whatever. You have an ad system built in here where you can serve national ads, provincial ads, municipal ads, and local ads. So the admin basically is in charge of the national ads and the provincial ads, and the local ads is run by the publishers themselves. They can add them as well. So this is what a publisher looks like. It's got a little menu, featured stories, because the idea would be every publisher gives you, say, 5 stories a week. One of them is featured. That featured one goes to the front page, and the other stories lie here, wherever you put them, whether it's a special project, editorial, or an archive, or whatever. But that is a national ad, a Dis-Chem ad, and a little way down, you'll see a Western Cape ad, just as an example, and then there's more content, and right at the back, at the bottom, you'll maybe have local ads. Okay, that's sort of there, and then this is like the all stories page, where all the content lies, latest stuff first. Again, national ad, and you have a provincial ad, and you can, in terms of the system, how I said it, Gauteng can have its own provincial ads, Western Cape can have its own provincial ads. Okay, so basically what I've created here is, okay, and it works on tokens. So there's a deal system here. The one is, it's 5 Rand a token, so it's 5 Rand a read. So everything is basically behind a paywall. But what I've done is I've given people, every time you sign up, you get 20 tokens. And then every week thereafter, whenever you visit the site and log in, you actually get 20 more. So you want to encourage people to come back and read. So that's one income stream. Syndication is another income stream. I think if you have 20 or 30 publishers here, and podcasters and whoever, you're going to start generating interesting content. Sorry, and then people are going to be interested in syndicating it. Okay, publications, you can also subscribe to publications, to individual publications or podcasters or whatever. And obviously the ads are also an income stream, and the big sponsor you have on the front page. That just gives you a quick idea. Yeah, I talked too long, sorry. A quick idea. I think the time is right for something like this. How you do it, I don't know. Previously, the guys that came before always had sort of a profit in the back of their minds. They wanted to make profit out of us. But at this stage, I think it's life and death. So any ideas we can come up with would be great. So that's more or less what I wanted to tell you.
That's amazing. Hear it.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay,
wow.
Quan and Kate, I've got you on board.
So Gerard, I mean, this is so I want everybody to kind of ask, as many questions as they want to, but also, I mean, this is super exciting in terms of a potential pilot project. And Gerard, it'd be nice. So maybe let me jump in with my first question. Would you be interested if we managed to find somebody to kind of project manage this for you, so that, I know how, you don't necessarily have a huge amount of time, but is this something you would literally want to drive and maybe have like an intern or somebody to support you? What are your thoughts about this? Have you got the time to drive it? Where are you at?
When I initially started with it, my idea was, Kate, and I know that you're not going to like this, but my idea was, AIP runs this.
Yeah.
My idea was I sort of finish, or I make a rough thing that works, and then I give it to AIP. And to
pursue it. Yeah.
To basically, you get an intern, you run the program. We can obviously help with the coding or whatever, but the young ones will quickly pick it up and be able to do it themselves. AIP sets up a Paystack account. It's so simple. I mean, it can be done in like 2 or 3 days, and it's done. And we connect it up, and the money goes into a central account in Paystack. The ads, we appoint somebody to actually market, to go and get us that big sponsor. But then the national ads, just think of it. Now we can go to the government and we can say, listen, guys, we've got a platform. Give us the ads. Here's our platform. It's a national platform.
Exactly.
Yeah. The platform, your ads goes on every one of our publications. Same with the provinces. Same with Checker ShopRite. For a small guy that's got nothing and is trying hard to set up a website or whatever, it's done here. It's SEO optimized. This is basically your website. This can be your website. And if it's a good platform and we have good content, I think we're going to get thousands of people. Thousands, and we could become one of the big 5 or big 6 in South Africa. I really think that's what my gut tells me.
Okay, if I can...
yeah, please, Anton, go ahead.
I think we need to get back to the project as well. And it's fascinating, but I think we call it the Loveable sort of like an incubator, an idea incubator, and Gerard has sort of shown also what it actually can do. Not that it's necessarily going to work, but also in the past months we've been, well, it initially started off with Gerard sort of doing his own thing, and then we got involved, and I think, but then it's like, okay, it can't be sort of isolated. It's one sitting in Kleinmond is literally in the southern part of the country and in the northern part of the country. We need to actually rope in the ones all in between, you know, like the bigger places. So we put a bit more sort of, what would you call it? We added some more meat around the whole project. We got a sponsor and said, okay, you know, let's sort of document what we're doing. Let's sort of do it in a structured way. Let's sort of look and see, okay, some of the ideas that we had or still have, some of them we think, oh no, it didn't work. Maybe it didn't work because we didn't do it the correct way. Maybe we just like, we didn't sort of try hard enough, or maybe it is just simply a bad idea. So this is where we expanded on that. And this is also where Adam and Adam, if you've got a few moments, we've only got 9 minutes left. So that to say, okay, let's assist and let's see if we can get some technical experts in. And we've got 2 people, Craig and Mike, who come from a tech point of view, who, if you're really stuck and you can't get your PayFast system to work or something like that, are willing to sort of make an hour or 2 available, and it ends up being more than that. But to come
Is it my...
I know, just wondering if it was my system or have we lost Anton?
I think we lost Anton, yeah.
Lost Anton, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can leap in.
Adam, yeah, won't you jump in now, Adam? Just to also give a sense from your side about what you've been doing, and then we'll take some questions. I can see Highveld Chronicle, Mfanzile. But yes, Adam, please go ahead. Oh, yes. Are you back, Anton? No. Okay, Adam, go ahead.
Yeah. So just finishing off what Anton was saying in terms of background. So I'm kind of helping out, and mainly I see my job as being the trying to be a voice of reason sometimes, but also keeping track of what's happening and what works. And I think what we have with these tools is the challenge of unfettered access to being able to do anything. And my analogy that I always use with stuff like this goes back to Star Wars. I think I've told Kate this one before, the Star Wars analogy, that the first 3 Star Wars films are pieces of creative genius, because you have huge teams of very talented people overcoming obstacles to create spaceships on screen and lightsabers and special effects that no one had ever seen before. And then you got the next 3 films which were powered by CGI, and you got unfettered access to George Lucas's imagination, or unfiltered access to George Lucas's imagination, and it turned out it wasn't very good. You got a lot of really terrible racist tropes, boring films that relied on special effects over actual content. And I think that's for me is one of the key dangers of these tools, that just because you can create anything doesn't necessarily mean you should. So my role in this is trying to sort of apply some metrics to things to figure out, here's what we think works, is it actually working, and Gerard and Anton are sort of plowing ahead and doing stuff, so I'm trying to keep up and just measure what's actually going on in terms of the numbers, and most importantly with the revenue, and being able to say what is and isn't working with the revenue. From a technical point of view, just going back to some of the questions earlier, one of the challenges I think, and I'm not sure the SEO is there with Loveable out of the box. It's certainly not as good as using something like WordPress by a long stretch of the imagination. What Loveable creates by default is a single page application, and that does create problems with discoverability, with sharing on Facebook, because every page starts off looking the same to the search engine or Facebook and loads data in the background. So the sites aren't necessarily as fast as we want them to be. So what I think for anybody who's looking to follow what's happening here and try things themselves, what we're trying to do is document all of this stuff so you can make an informed decision. These tools are really powerful, but they're changing all the time. If I was starting the project today, I probably wouldn't use Loveable, because Google launched something last week which is basically Loveable for free. Google Anti-Gravity does everything Loveable does, and there is zero charge at all on there so far. So I think the landscape is constantly changing. We're trying to keep up with that. And most importantly, though, that these are not incompatible with existing tools. Loveable provides a workflow for exporting something like the way Overstrand Herald looks, or the way Zavensberger looks, into a WordPress theme, because they're both written in React.js nowadays. So there are steps for exporting one to the other. On the security question that came up, that's something I've actually been quite impressed with, just because the amount of damage that's possible to do from the front end is quite limited. So Loveable generally doesn't do much other than create, I think it's TypeScript documents and so on, and most of the security is inherited from the Supabase backend, which is pretty good in terms of security. But that does create some of the issues Anton touched on, that we don't ultimately know right now what the costs are likely to be. If the websites are successful and scale, the costs are not terribly transparent, because there's different layers to the services. So really that's kind of what I'm trying to help out with, is to keep track of all of this, document it, and help people who are looking to follow
Adam,
ideas.
just a thing, sorry. No, Adam, I just wanted to say you're actually very soft. So I hope everybody heard you. I actually thought it was just me that was hearing you very softly, but hopefully everyone did. But yeah, Highveld Chronicle, Mfanzile. Please go ahead.
Okay, greeting everyone. First, I must say I love the idea. Am I audible?
You are. You're perfectly audible.
Okay, I love the idea, but talking about love, I hate paywalls on news. But what I've noticed, people love news, but they don't have that love for paywalls. But I want to check something with this idea. I saw that it's based on people registering and have accounts, and then they get those tokens. Can it be done in a manner that it's done reverse than how it's done now? you grant someone the tokens, say it's 25 tokens, and then I saw that it's 35 tokens. Can it be done in a manner that when introducing it, those who read more stories, they accumulate tokens. And then once people are used, maybe we start free. And then once people are used and they have more tokens, then we can, looking that now we have the numbers, we can start introducing the payment that people buy for token. But those who have been accumulating tokens, they can keep using those tokens. But we know that once they run out and now they are used to the system, they'll start buying. Because now we have users who are addicted to the system. So that's the question I have get, that can it be done in a reverse manner, that every time you read, you accumulate tokens, and then later, once we start paying, then you use those tokens to read the stories. Once you have run out of tokens, then you start buying more tokens. Thank you.
Absolutely. It can be done. Absolutely.
Because you're raising a very important aspect.
This is exactly Anton, you're back. Great. So Anton and Gerard. Okay, please go ahead.
You're raising exactly the thing why this whole project, what it's about. In different markets, different things will hopefully work. In your market, like in part of our market, people do not want to pay for news. So then we should look, and maybe what we should do is say, okay, well, you know what? You can get 5 tokens, but you have to watch a video. Or you have to do this little, just quickly look through this. So all these ideas, if you can think of an idea, you know what, you can build it. You don't have to sort of take it to this expert sort of team, and then they're going to tell you why it's not going to work, and then they're going to like, oh no, but you still want it, let's take a month, and then they come up with a concept and it costs you like the price of a car. It's going to cost you maybe like $50, if that much, you know, to test the idea and see, and then you can scale it, and you can say, okay, no, you know what, maybe I should do this, or maybe I should do that. The whole project is about innovation. It's about see what works in your specific market, because no 2 markets are the same. You may have a market that's crazy about soccer, and with Gerard, they don't, in his market, they don't play soccer. They might play bowls, you know, because it's only for young people. But what I'm saying is this is the exciting part of it, that you can test it all. Anyway, but so yes, absolutely.
We can also distinguish between publishers. If you as a publisher want to give your stuff away for free, fine, no problem. We just set it up that way. The other guy wants to charge, we charge. But I think the power of this lies in bringing everybody together. There's no platform. Everybody's struggling in their own little way to try and make a living. If we can bring it together, this is going to be one massive. I mean, I don't know, I'm too old, but think of it like the MTV of news. It can be massive.
Thank you, both of you. So I saw Linda's hand. Linda?
Hi, good afternoon, colleagues. I hope you can hear me. Thank you. That was absolutely beautiful. I really enjoyed the session. My question is mainly around the ethics of using AI. Since it's built on by AI, and I think earlier on it was mentioned that AI doesn't know when to stop. So my question is, what are the considerations you have ethically, and what are the possible impacts that it could have on business, and also what is our responsibilities or your responsibilities as producers of this content in terms of the AI? Do we say, I know now you can say this content was generated by AI, but what are the implications for journalism in future and the business overall? I hope my question makes sense. Thank you.
They're very big questions, but please go ahead, Gerard and Anton. What are your views? Because it's an essential question.
Yeah, no, it's a very important question. I use AI to build the site. I don't use AI at all in my news flow. And frankly, I wouldn't come near it. I don't use it to generate a picture, nothing. I absolutely don't want anything to do with AI when it comes to my content. That's my sort of my line. So I don't see them interfering at this stage with what I'm doing. I'm creating a backend, I'm creating a website, and the content is something completely different. So I keep them apart.
From my side, I'm the opposite. No, I'm on the other side. I love AI, but one must sort of, like what I previously said, you need to distinguish between what you're using AI for. With Loveable and these web builders, effectively, they just build code. They go and they've got millions and millions of pieces of code, which they can scout and they can see, okay, what Gerard wants is sort of closest to what the code is already available, and it basically gives you that code. So yes, someone throughout the years sort of built that code, it's taking that and it's giving it to you. So it's not really interpreting anything. It's like you go to and you say, okay, I want a new house. And you go and you say, okay, let's look at all these like architect's plans. I like that one. Yes, implement it. Much the same as AI is in web building. So there's no sort of, I mean, if it builds it and you don't like the colors, then you change the colors. It's not as if it's like intellectual property. If you don't like red, you go for blue. That is on the one side. So I don't see an ethical dilemma or any sort of moral dilemma in terms of using AI just to generate code. That's sort of, and in fact, like every single coder I know uses AI to generate code or to clean up their code. So that's not the on the content part. We use it I use it daily. I use it to clean up grammar. I use it to do sort of further sort of fact checking. I did in so many ways. But there you need to decide it's your tool. If you haven't got control over that tool, it can do stupid things. But the same, if you want to go with like use a chainsaw and use it recklessly, it's not the chainsaw's fault. It's your own fault. You use it recklessly. Don't use AI recklessly. Use the responsibility. And this, you need to know that it can be extremely dangerous. Don't trust it. Do not trust Claude, ChatGPT, or any. Like, it is your tool. Don't trust it. But that in the project that we're doing now, I don't think there are ethical dilemmas in using AI.
So, colleagues, I can see that we are kind of over time now, but I want to take Buchle's question and then I want us to wrap up. But this is obviously just the first of many, many sessions that we're going to have as we learn lessons. But Buchle, please go ahead.
Greetings to you all. My first question is that I mean my WordPress. I'm using WordPress, that free website. It does not welcome it doesn't welcome videos, and now it affects my paywalls because sometimes videos do make a put in as far as revenue is concerned. On number two, can I have maybe examples of AI policies who are still new? I mean, I'm still new in this digital migration. Can I have example of AI policies? I have them. Maybe you have got experience, guys, Anton and Grobler. You have experience in this. So can I have some other policies you get through experience? Thank you.
Thank you,
Can I take the video question? Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes.
And then we'll go to the
go
ahead,
and anybody else, don't try and host your own videos. Whatever you do, don't envision a system where you're hosting your own videos on your own servers, because the bandwidth to display those videos in a user's browser is enormous. It will cost you an absolute fortune. The reason we host videos on things like Vimeo or YouTube or something like that is because they are heavily optimized for lots of users watching the same video at the same time. They have cached versions of the video in Akamai's servers all around the world and things like that. If you're building a business plan that is based on hosting your own videos on your own server, it's really not a simple technical thing. And it's not that WordPress won't host videos, it's that if you start putting lots of videos on your server, you've got to build your own video sharing system, and that is maybe Loveable can do it, but it's going to cost a lot of money in terms of bandwidth.
Thanks, Adam. And just the issue around the AI editorial policies, etc. I mean, that's a very good question. I don't know, Anton, Gerard, do you have AI policies in place?
I think the Press Council does have.
They do.
We do I mean, I would basically rather go back to the Press Council. They've got some guidance there. They've got a policy. But it's like any other policy. Policy doesn't sort of like achieve anything unless someone responsibly or responsible sits there and actually sort of use it. We deal with a lot of correspondence, and we actually encourage them to use ChatGPT or any of the others, because remember, we functioning in an area where English is often not even a third or a fourth language. Okay, yet we are forced to communicate because it's a more universal language. So it's a useful tool for people who struggle with English to actually get their thoughts together, run it through a grammar check, and then they need to check it again. So there's a lot of training in that. So a policy is not going to sort that out. You need to actually tell people to check their facts again, go through everything. But I wouldn't discount AI as a tool that opens up new worlds for sort of reporters in areas such as all the rural areas that we serve.
And Bukle, what we'll do is we'll literally we'll send. I see that V has put a link in the chat, but we'll also send to all our AIP members, you know, the information on the Press Council site and the work that they've done around AI, because they've definitely looked at these ethics issues. Gerard, I don't know if you want to quickly add to that, and then let's wrap up.
Thank you.
Okay, I just the final thing. I'm still on my plan. I'm one-track minded. Just think of that wonderful feeling you're going to get if you go on Molo or whatever, Kujo or whatever you want to call it, and you see all these indigenous languages, Venda, Xhosa, Zulu, and you have a short sort of AI summary in English or whatever. It's just magic. It blows my mind. Anyway, think about it.
Gerard, that is just, I mean, I think that is a wonderful way to kind of end the session. So just to kind of quickly wrap up, to sort of say, you know, so there are two projects here. There's the original project, which was the project that I started work on with Anton and Gerard, hoping that other people are going to also join, which is looking at, you know, models around financing workshops, websites and publications, looking at how do we find different ways of making money and multiple ways of making money, so that we become more sustainable. So that was the first project, and we're going to continue on that. And now Gerard has come up with this project, and as you say, it's an old idea and it's been tested many times, but I think it is, and I would agree with you, Gerard, I think it's a particularly important moment now to look at that kind of collective energy, you know, a platform that would pull all our different publishers together. And so we will certainly look at it as AIP, as a pilot project. I also saw a number of messages in the chat saying, lovely idea, lovely idea. So from the AIP side, what my sense is, we'd spin this off as a separate project. It's a big project. It requires definite attention. It needs some capacity and some money. And I'm more than happy to find both to make it work. So thank you very much to everybody who's been here. Big thanks to Gerard, to Anton, and to Adam. And then please, if you have some final comments, make them, and then we can wrap up the meeting. Anton, it looks like you want to say something.
Yeah, just a final one, because in this specific project, we need at least one or two more like really great publishers. It will help the project if more people would sort of would be willing to sort of play around with it. It is really, you have to be brave to do it. It's like a lot of frustration. It's a lot of, but it's very rewarding. There's no sort of like funding for publishers for this at all. It's like, it's really, you have to sort of decide only whether you want to sort of jump into this and try it. The advantage of that is it allows you to innovate and be part of other innovators. and we need the ideas, because somewhere along the line, someone's going to do things that will start working, and we need that. I know a lot of you rely on advertising. I do not rely on advertising anymore. That's why I'm less worried about SEOs and all these things. It doesn't bring in money. It doesn't pay salaries. We need to find something that pays salaries for journalists. And this is where the more we experiment, and we could really do with more people wanting to experiment. So that's from my side.
So yeah, so please get hold of the AIP office, or directly Anton and Gerard, to say that you'd like to join the project. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to all our presenters, and take care. There's lots of exciting things to be doing. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.